Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video we'll be answering the question, what is a relative pronoun? A relative pronoun connects a clause or a phrase to a noun or pronoun that's already been mentioned. There are 5 words that are commonly used as relative pronouns. They are who, whom, whose, that and which. I'm going to now explain how each one of them is used and what their function is as a relative pronoun. So first up, who. It identifies a person or people, and it refers to the person or people as the subject of the verb. It draws our attention to the subject of the verb. Let me give you an example. The girl who shouted has bad manners. The relative pronoun who emphasises the subject of our sentence, specifically that the girl, she shouted. So confusion around whether to use who or whom often causes problems for people. But there are 2 instances where we would need to use whom. Whom is used instead of who when it's after a preposition, so a word that locates us to a specific position of something. So, for example, to whom did the girl shout abuse at? In this case, the preposition is to, and so we can't say to who did the girl shout abuse at. That's too informal, and instead, to whom is much more appropriate. Whom can also be used as the object of the verb. So before then, Charlie had been my friend whom I respected with all my heart. And in this instance, whom draws my attention to the object of the verb. Whose is used when considering what belongs to someone or is associated with a person. It is the possessive form of who, and it means belonging to whom. Let's take, for example, the sentence, I wondered whose friend she was anyway now. Whose is asking, whose friendship does she have? Who would call her a friend? To what group of friends does she belong? That refers to a specific thing that's been already mentioned and links one clause to another. So for example, let's see how that is used in the sentence below. She bought a megaphone that cut through any other noise to shout the abuse. That is used to complement the main clause is that she bought a megaphone, but also that the megaphone that she bought cut through any other noise that was there to shout the abuse. We need that word because it's relative to both clauses and it makes the most sense. And finally, which. It's used to refer to something that's already been mentioned when introducing more information which links to what's already been mentioned. So for example, she didn't say sorry, which was a big mistake. The use of the word which at this moment tells us the fact that the girl didn't say sorry is an ongoing battle now. There is an issue between our speaker and the girl. We need the word which because new information is introduced here. So which relative pronouns did you spot? Aside from the word which, of course, in the question I just asked. So number 1, I met a man who sells cars. After all this time, the train which was late did not start. And here is the film that I meant to lend to you. It might be easy enough that those words were relative pronouns, but let's see if you could identify why they are relative pronouns. In the first sentence, I met a man who sells cars, it refers to the subject of the verb. In this case, the man is the subject of the verb. And the relative pronoun links the man to the cars he sells. In sentence number 2, After all this time, the train, which was late, did not start. The relative pronoun which helps us to understand new information about the subject, in this case the train, that was not only late, but failed to start. And finally, here is the film that I meant to lend to you. The word that, which is a relative pronoun, links the main clause about the film to the other clause about the film. Why don't you have a try with these 5 sentences? Why not use thinking time if you need it? Remember, your job is to find the correct relative pronoun. So, how did you get on? The party which happened last night ended at midnight. Which is the correct relative pronoun because more information is added about the specifics of when this party ended as we read on after that relative pronoun. And so new information is associated with which as the relative pronoun. I need someone who can support me with improving my grammar. Well, fear not, that's why I'm here. I'm Miss Hannah and I do love grammar. But in this instance, the person who's speaking in statement number 2 needs a person. And so who is the appropriate relative pronoun? For number 3, the person is inquiring after this dog and they're asking, whose dog is this? They're asking, to whom does this dog belong? And so, because whose is associated with possession, it makes sense that we would use that relative pronoun whose. Now, in many formal writing experiences that you have with letters, you will say to whom it may concern. Whom is the appropriate relative pronoun when followed after a preposition, such as to, as we considered earlier. And it's also steeped in formality, to whom it may concern. Finally, Ben likes canoeing, which is great fun. What we've learnt from the final example is that the person is sharing some information about Ben, but is also now sharing their emotion, another new piece of information about what's great about canoeing. Well, in this case, it's great fun. So, which is the correct and appropriate relative pronoun? I hope that this has helped, and good luck with all that you do in all things grammatical. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?